come clean, or we're gonna make your life hell. Because you're coming anyway.
Welcome to McBirdo's expedition into the unknown and terrible. We have been stuck here in the ice for an eternity. Come into the captain's cabin and warm yourself before you head back out onto the decks.
Greetings! You have returned to McBirdo's expedition, and the past said it better. Oh, how long have we been trapped in this infernal ice pack with only drills and hunting seals and provisioning the ship? Today, as a special treat, I shall dig deep into my library of innumerable primary sources and share with you what people actually said about the past, because the past said it better. Writers can embellish on a bad primary source, but hearing the words of someone who actually experienced an event, sometimes shocking, sometimes horrible, always amazing. That said, I've not read these, and so I'm going to be giving you my thoughts as I go along. Chances are, as you are a crew member of the HMS Niblet, you are not easily disturbed by dank, dark, disturbing, or perhaps even sensitive topics. But I'm going to give you a blanket warning now that if you're not wearing your clutchable pearls, maybe you should go get them. I will also warn you that as these came from back in the past, they might not always have the most politically acceptable of language. And if I can put up with the rampant sexism of the past, from a time when they couldn't imagine that a mere female could leave a gang of stalwart adventurers, then so can you. So sit down, make yourself comfy, grab a beverage of your choice, and let's block out this howling wind together. Arr, matey, have you ever been to sea? Press ganging. What a wonderful thing. Hi, drink this drink with the king's coin in the bottom. You were thought to have taken his money, and now you're in his navy whether you like it or not. And guess what? You don't get to tell anyone that you went. Where you went, what happened, you're just gone. Coming from a maritime family, this obviously wasn't an issue. They all went to sea quite willingly. I do find it quite interesting, the whole idea that you're just going to kidnap people off the street and expect them to work for you, because they do. And that's what happened. So today we're going to listen to the story of Robert Hay, who was a ship's carpenter, and he had been to sea before when he was a press ganged, and I believe this was in the very early 1800s. He lived from 1789 to 1847. I think this is from about 1811 or so, but maybe it will tell us. I was, when crossing Tower Hill, accosted by a person in seaman's dress who tapped me on the shoulder, inquiring in a familiar and technical strain, "What ship?" I assumed an air of gravity and surprise, and I told him I presumed he was under some mistake, as I was not connected with shipping. The fellow, however, was too well acquainted with his business to be thus easily put off. Yeah, because it was, I believe, better to be on any other ship but the Navy ship. Less people were trying to shoot at you in not Navy ships. He gave a whistle, and in a moment I was in the hands of 6 or 8 ruffians, who I immediately dreaded and soon found to be a press gang. They dragged me hurriedly along through several streets amid bitter excoriations bestowed upon them, expressions of sympathy directed towards me, and landed me in the house of rendezvous. How awful is that? Like, oh yeah, we're just gonna grab you, bye! Say bye to your life. I was immediately carried into the presence of the lieutenant of the gang, who questioned me as to my profession. I made some evasive answers to these interrogations, but my hands being examined and found hard with work and perhaps a little discolored with tar, I was remanded for further examination. Some of the gang then offered me spirits and attempted to comfort me. Ah, yes, have a little drinky. It won't be so bad. You'll like being in the Navy. It's fun. Guess what we do in the Navy? We drink lots of rum. Lots and lots of rum. And grog. Yes. The very scoundrel who first laid hold of me put on such a sympathizing look and observed what a pity it was to be pressed. I'm so sorry I've press-ganged you. It's terrible to be press-ganged by me. How awful that you have been press-ganged by me. I'd be like, such sympathy from such a source was well calculated to exasperate my feelings, but to think of revenge was folly. In a short time, I was reconducted for further examination before the lieutenant, who told me as I was in his hands and would assuredly be kept, I might as well make a frank confession of my circumstances. It would save time and ensure me better treatment.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Okay, yeah, we can tell you've been to sea, so come clean, or we're gonna make your life hell. Because you're coming anyway. I therefore acknowledged that I had been on a voyage to the West Indies and had come home carpenter of a ship, which is actually a pretty respectable position on a ship. You know, he's not going to be doing work that he doesn't really like doing, or, you know, being a top man. If you were afraid of heights, climbing up to the top of the sails, like, no. Let's just say that young Ensign McBirdo didn't enjoy that part of training. I don't like heights particularly. Actually, it's not the heights, it's the idea of falling. Or, I've actually been told it's not the idea of falling, it is that you are afraid of what you'll do with the opportunity to fall. I'm not quite sure what they were going on with that, but that's one of the things I've read about that. I just avoid the topmast. His eyes seem to brighten at this intelligence. I am glad of that, my lad, said he. We are very much in want of carpenters. Step along with these men and they will give you passage on board. You're in the Navy now, buddy. I was then led back the way I came by the fellow who first seized me, put aboard of a pinnace at Tower Wharf, and by midday was securely lodged on board the Enterprise. Boom, boom.
Space, a final frontier.
I'm a better captain than Kirk, I'm just saying. I hit people much, much less than Kirk. The other things Kirk was famous for, I'm not going to divulge.
Yes. Oh, this isn't right, Captain.
As soon as the boat reached the ship, I was sent down into the great cabin, in various parts which tables were placed covered in green cloth, loaded with papers and surrounded with men well dressed and powdered. The good old days when you had to powder your hair. And that they still did it on the ships. That's what kind of amazes me. So I'm thinking if they were powdered, it might be before 1811. Maybe, like, that was pretty much out of fashion. Though if you were, by 1811, almost everybody had given up their wigs. Maybe an old officer, like a an older gentleman would keep to the older fashion, but still, it's a bit odd. Where is he? He's in the captain's cabin. Such silence prevailed and such solemn gravity was displayed in every countenance that I was struck with awe and dread. No sooner did I enter the cabin door than every eye was darted on me. That would be not very comfortable. Especially if you're, like, I don't want to be noticed. Really, I want to go home.
A short sketch of what had passed between the press officer and myself had been communicated to the examining officer, for when I was ushered into his presence, he thus addressed me. "Well, young man, I understand you are a carpenter by trade." "Yes, sir." "And have you been at sea?" "One voyage, sir." "Are you willing to join the king's service?" "No, sir." "Why?" "Because I get much better wages in the merchant service, and should I be unable to agree with the captain, I am at liberty to leave him at the end of the voyage." "I don't want to be. I don't want to get shot up by the French. I don't want to be blockaded by the French. I don't want to die."
"As to wages," said he, "the chance of prize money is an equivalent, and obedience and respect shown to your officers is all that is necessary to ensure you good treatment. Take my advice, my lad," continued he, "and enter the service cheerfully. Then you will have a bounty, and will be in a fair way for promotion."
Obey order. Do your duty. And no harm will come to you.
"If you continue to refuse, remember you are aboard and you will be kept as pressed man and treated accordingly. So sign on the line which is dotted." I falteringly replied that I could not think of engaging in any service voluntarily when I knew of a better situation elsewhere. He said no more, but making a motion with his hand, I was seized by two Marines, hurried along towards the main hatchway, and with these words thundered in my ears, "A pressed man to go below!"
I think no man in a century will suffer as greatly as you will.
Injustice and mockery, I thought, but my doom was fixed, and I was thrust down among 5 or 6 score of miserable beings, who, like myself, had been kidnapped and immured in the confined and unwholesome dungeon of a press room.
By way of my own with seamen, they respect but one law, the law of fear, and it will be well for my officers to remember that.
Well, I can only tell you what I think. These men may come from jails and taverns, but they're Englishmen, and they'll sail this ship anywhere.
Well, we know he lived a long time, so he survived. Maybe we will track down the memories of Robert Hay. Let me see, it was published in 1953, and then it was republished again in 1958. I don't know, it might be interesting reading. And there we have another one.